The 2026 governor races are already shaping up to be way more interesting than people expected. In this video, we're going to go coast to coast, breaking down every single race, who's running, what the polls show, and where I think things stand right now. These elections will decide which party will govern most of America for the next 4 years, and the outcomes could reshape the political landscape in a big way. Make sure to watch until the end, as many results will surprise you. Before we jump in, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any updates on the biggest elections happening across the country. So we're just going to jump straight into it, no reason to wait, and we'll start with the nation's biggest state, California. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom is term limited, so this is an open race. On the Democratic side, you've got a long list of well-known names. Former Assembly Speaker Tony Atkins, former HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra, former Congresswoman Katie Porter, and even former LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. Republicans don't have a strong bench here, but a few have jumped in, like political commentator Steve Hilton. California hasn't elected a Republican governor since Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the state has only gotten bluer since then. So no matter which Democrat comes out of the primary, this race is going to stay in the solid blue column. Next up is Oregon. Governor Tina Kotek is running for re-election after her close win in 2022. Back then, it was a three-way race, and she barely beat Republican Christian Drazen. And guess what? Drazen might come back for a rematch. Even though Republicans came close last time, Oregon is still a blue state. Democrats have strong advantages here, and unless something major changes, Kotek is favored to win again. Oregon will go into the solid blue column. Moving on to Hawaii, there's not much to say here. Hawaii is one of the bluest states in the country. Governor Josh Green is running for a second term and should easily win, and Hawaii will be placed into the solid blue column. Next up is Alaska. Alaska is always interesting because of ranked choice voting. Governor Mike Dunleavy is term limited, so it's an open seat. Republicans have a big primary field forming, while Democrats are rallying behind former state Senator Tom Bechetz. Alaska leans Republican overall, but with ranked choice voting, you never know. Still, unless Democrats catch lightning in a bottle, this is going to stay red and Alaska will be placed into the likely red column. Our next state is Arizona. Arizona is one of the most exciting races of the year. Democrat Katie Hobbs is running for re-election after her razor-thin win in 2022. On the Republican side, Congressman Andy Biggs and former candidate Karen Taylor Robinson are both in the mix. Arizona has been bouncing back and forth between the parties. Biden won in 2020, Trump flipped it in 2024, and Hobbs only won her last race by less than 1%. Right now, the polls show Hobbs basically tied with her top Republican challengers. Because she's the incumbent, I'm going to give her a slight edge, and Arizona will be placed into the tilt blue column. Next up is Nevada. Nevada's governor, Joe Lombardo, is running for re-election. He's a Republican in a true swing state. Democrats are likely going to run Attorney General Aaron Ford. Lombardo only won in 2022 by around 1 point, but he's fairly popular right now. Nevada has been tight in the last few presidential elections too, and I see this one going down to the wire. However, for now, Lombardo has the advantage, and Nevada will be placed into the tilt red column. Heading over to Idaho, Idaho is as red as it gets. Governor Brad Little is expected to run again, and Republicans have a lock on this state. There's not really much to say, and Iowa will be placed into the solid red column. Moving on to Colorado, Jared Polis is term limited, so this will be an open race. Democrats have some strong names lining up, like Senator Michael Bennet and Attorney General Phil Weiser. Colorado has shifted pretty far left in the last decade, and Republicans don't really have a clear candidate yet. Colorado will be placed into the solid blue column. Next up is New Mexico. New Mexico is also open, with Michelle Lujan Grisham term limited. Former Interior Secretary Deb Haaland is already running, and she'd be a very strong candidate for Democrats. Republicans don't have much of a bench here. New Mexico usually votes blue in governor races, and 2026 looks no different. New Mexico will be placed into the solid blue column. Our next state is Wyoming. Wyoming is the reddest state in the country. Governor Mark Gordon is term limited, but it doesn't matter. Whoever wins the Republican primary is posed to win the general election, and as the reddest state in the country, Wyoming goes into the solid red column. Over in Nebraska, we have a similar story. Governor Jim Pillen is likely running for re-election, and Nebraska is deep red. Nebraska will also be placed into the solid red column. Moving on to Kansas, it gets interesting. Democrat Laura Kelly is term limited, and she's been one of the few Democrats to win in a very conservative state. With her gone, Republicans are heavily favored to take the seat back. While this race is still early, Kansas will be placed into the lean red column. Next up is South Dakota. In South Dakota, Governor Christian Noem left for the Senate, and Republicans still control the state. South Dakota is very conservative, and the GOP should easily keep their governor's office. South Dakota goes into the solid red column. Our next state is Iowa. Iowa's Governor Kim Reynolds is not running again, which makes this an open race. Iowa used to be a swing state, but it's been trending Republican for years now. Democrats don't have a clear candidate, while Republicans have plenty, and based on current trends, Iowa will go into the lean red column. Over in Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz is expected to seek re-election. The state usually leans Democratic, though it can be competitive at times. Walz benefits from tremendous name recognition after his 2024 campaign, giving him a clear advantage heading into the race. At the moment, he's well positioned, and unless Republicans field a particularly strong candidate, Democrats are likely to keep the governorship. Minnesota will be placed into the likely blue column. Wisconsin is where things get really interesting. Wisconsin is shaping up to be one of the most closely watched races in the country. The state is notoriously competitive, often splitting almost evenly in major elections, making every vote count. Governor Tony Evers is running for re-election, and Republicans will be targeting this seat aggressively, knowing it can swing either way. Despite the fierce competition, Evers enters the race with the advantage of incumbency and strong local support, giving him a slight edge. At this point, while it's clearly a tight contest, the state currently favors the Democrats and goes into the tilt blue column. Moving on to Illinois, Governor J.D. Pritzker is expected to run for another term. Illinois is one of the most reliably blue states in the country, and Republicans haven't been competitive in statewide races here for years. Keeping this in mind, Illinois will be placed into the solid blue column. Next up is Michigan, where Governor Gretchen Whitmer is term limited, creating an open seat in one of the nation's biggest swing states. Republicans are already lining up strong candidates, while Democrats are likely to field someone like Dana Nessel or Alyssa Slotkin. Michigan is historically competitive, though Democrats have had an edge in recent gubernatorial contests. Keeping that in mind, Michigan will be placed into the lean blue column. Heading over to Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine is term limited. Ohio has been trending Republican in recent years, and the GOP holds a clear advantage heading into this cycle. Democrats would need a major name like Sherrod Brown to be competitive, but he's not in this race. With that in mind, Ohio will be placed into the lean red column. Now we travel to Oklahoma, which remains one of the most reliably Republican states in the country. Governor Kevin Stitt is term limited, but the GOP's dominance here makes the outcome all but certain. Oklahoma will be placed into the solid red column. Next, let's take a look at Texas, where Governor Greg Abbott is running for re-election. While the state has historically leaned Republican, Abbott's controversial redistricting efforts in favor of Trump were very unpopular in some areas, making parts of the state more competitive. Despite this, Abbott remains a strong incumbent, and Republicans still have the edge, so Texas will be placed into the lean red column. Moving down to Arkansas, the state is firmly red, and Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders is term limited. Even with a new candidate, Republicans are expected to hold the seat without difficulty. Arkansas will be placed into the solid red column. Over in Alabama, the story is much the same. Governor Kay Ivey is term limited, and the Republicans are guaranteed to maintain control here, as Alabama is one of the most conservative states in the nation. With all of that in mind, Alabama will also be placed into the solid red column. Heading southeast to Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp is term limited, creating an open race in a state that has been trending more blue. Republicans have strong candidates, but Democrats have a deep bench, including names like Stacey Abrams. With these strong candidates and Georgia's overall trend to the left, Georgia will be placed into the tilt blue column. Next up is Florida, where Governor Ron DeSantis is term limited. Florida has been shifting red in recent years, and Republicans are expected to maintain control comfortably. Keeping that in mind, Florida will be placed into the lean red column. Moving on to South Carolina, Governor Henry McMaster is term limited, but the state remains a reliably Republican stronghold. South Carolina will also be placed into the solid red column. Our next state is Tennessee, where Governor Bill Lee is term limited. Tennessee continues to be a solidly Republican state, making this a safe GOP hold. Tennessee will be placed into the solid red column. Heading over to the Mid-Atlantic, Maryland's Governor Wes Moore is running for re-election in a deep blue state. His strong local support and incumbency makes this an easy call. Maryland will be placed into the solid blue column. Next, we move to Pennsylvania, where Governor Josh Shapiro is expected to run for another term. Pennsylvania is often competitive, but Shapiro's popularity and recent Democratic wins gives him a huge edge. Pennsylvania will be placed into the likely blue column, giving Democrats another huge win. Over in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul is likely to run again. New York is one of the most reliably Democratic states, and Republicans currently lack a strong challenger. With all of that in mind, New York will be placed into the solid blue column. Heading north to Vermont, popular Republican Governor Phil Scott hasn't yet confirmed if he will run. If he steps aside, Democrats would have a strong chance even in this historically Republican-leaning state at the governor's level. For now, Vermont will be placed into the lean red column, assuming Phil Scott runs again. Next up is New Hampshire, where Governor Kelly Ayotte is running again. She's a Republican in a swing state that often leans left at the national level, but her local popularity gives her an edge. Knowing that, New Hampshire will be placed into the lean red column. Moving on to Maine, Governor Janet Mills is term limited, creating an open seat. Democrats have several strong potential candidates, and the state usually favors them in statewide and national contests. With all of that in mind, Maine will be placed into the lean blue column. Over in Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healey is running for re-election in one of the bluest states in the country. Republicans have really never won any elections in Massachusetts, and Massachusetts will be placed into the solid blue column. Heading to Rhode Island, Governor Dan McKee is running for another term, and the state remains reliably Democratic. If you haven't noticed yet, most of the East and West Coast urban states lean to the left, while most of the rural central states lean to the right, creating a political divide across the electoral map in America. Our last state on the map is the state of Connecticut. Over in Connecticut, Governor Ned Lamont remains very popular and is expected to seek another term. The state consistently votes blue in statewide contests, making this an easy call. And our last state on the map, Connecticut, will be placed into the solid blue column. And there you have it. After going coast to coast, we end up with a perfectly even map. 18 governorships for Democrats and 18 for Republicans. That leaves us with a very balanced control of the nation's governorships, setting the stage for some really intense battles heading into 2028. Both sides will be fighting hard to break that tie and shape the direction of the country. These races show just how divided and competitive the political landscape is right now. Every state matters, and every election night could swing the map in a new direction. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future election updates. Let me know in the comment section who you think will win the 2026 governor elections, and I'll see you guys in the next video.